He stared at her in surprise. "You're too cavalier about this whole thing, and that makes me believe there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that I don't know about." She felt herself withdrawing from his scrutiny. "You promised not to probe." "I did. I promised not to probe about the case. But what I'm talking about has nothing to do with that. It has to do with you. To me, you're putting yourself unnecessarily in danger." "What do you care?" she snapped. The moment the words were out of her mouth, she regretted them, but she didn't apologize. This man was getting to her in ways she couldn't explain. On one hand, she found herself wanting to remain with him for whatever time she had left in New York. But on the other hand, there was the fear that once he discovered the truth, he would leave her, and for some reason the thought of him abandoning her made her stomach ache. She was no longer hungry. Tossing the rest of her slice into the box, she wiped her mouth and fingers and drank from her bottle of water Joel had included with the order. She turned on the bed when a hand reached over and grasped her bare wrist. The unexpected skin-to-skin contact almost sucked the air from her lungs. She started to jerk her arm away, but he was prepared and his grip tightened slightly. Not enough to bruise, but enough to make her look up at him. A yard barely separated them, but he felt closer. He smelled closer, so close she could sense his heartbeat speeding up in anticipation. His eyes were the color of topaz before he tilted his head, shading them. "Damn it, Orrora, what are you afraid of?" "I'm afraid of nothing." "The hell you aren't. What the hell were you doing running half-cocked, as you yourself put it, after that murderer? For another thing, how did you know he was the bleeder? And if he really was, why didn't he kill you? How did you manage to get away?" He let go of her arm and got up to stride over to the window. Orrora remained silent as he appeared to battle with himself. When he finally turned around, he dragged a hand through his hair, then parked both hands on his hips. "None of this makes sense. This puzzle is missing too many fucking pieces." He jabbed 2 fingers at her. "You have those pieces. You know what this puzzle is supposed to look like when it's finished. I'm willing to bet that the cops don't even have all the pieces. Tell me I'm wrong, Orrora." She opened her mouth to remind him again that he promised not to probe, but he interrupted her before she could voice it. "There's something about you that doesn't add up. To me, that's a huge part of this puzzle." "But he let out a sigh. Yeah, I know. I promised not to probe, but damn it, Orrora, the thought of you going out there and trying to take on that bastard single-handedly." She wanted to tell him. The urge, the need to tell him everything was overwhelming, but her sense of self-preservation was stronger. "I'm sorry, Joel." It was all she could manage at the moment. That sweet, comforting aura that had enveloped them earlier had dissipated. "You're sorry? Yeah, well, so am I. I'm sorry I got caught up in this shit. I'm sorry I'm starting to care about you to the point where I worry about your welfare. I'm sorry I'm—" He couldn't finish what he wanted to say. She watched as he glanced over at the door, and she knew then and there that they were done. He was done with her, and at any moment he would walk out of that room and out of her life for good. The realization sat like a cold lump in the middle of her stomach. "Why?" Joel reached into his shirt's breast pocket and extracted her room card to slam it on the bureau. "I promised not to probe, and I won't. But don't be surprised if you see me hanging around the crime scenes. That is, if you're still alive." He strode past where she was standing beside the bed, but suddenly stopped and turned around. He took one large step toward her and reached for her shoulders, drawing her toward him. Too stunned by this unexpected action, she didn't try to fight back. Maybe she had already anticipated this and wanted it to happen as much as he did. But when he dropped his mouth over hers, his kiss burned her all the way to her core. He broke it off way too soon and hurried out of the room before she could react, leaving her standing there in confusion.